Hello. This is my second take for the express delivery video for kind of my own, what you call, ledger. Just for my own memories, like how did it used to go. I had one video before, but there was like one person who was interested about it, but could not hear me properly, so I figured out I'm gonna make another one. Maybe with like a little bit better audio. Just in case anyone else also feels like they might be interested, might want to get something out of it. So, let's get to it. First of all, I will go through my ships. So this is the generic ship I used for all of my, let's say, inner planet flying. The base I nicked from the internet. I just had to add more plates, more energy, because it kept running out of both, and just crashing randomly for running out of the bullets. But with this setup it works. I also actually added this, it kept having too much of the coal, whatever the stuff, so started to make that to be more ice, to get more water, to have enough fuel. So I did that, and then a little bit more storage. With that it was very good. I could use this as an outpost ship, like it could easily fit enough stuff to start a base in other planets and so on. Then I have the Brick Junior, smaller version of the Big Brick, which is just for the tech. This is one thing I set up for from the start, and it has been working very well ever after. Essentially there's X amount of stuff I can have on the belt, everything else goes off. These guys also read the belt to make sure I have everything I need. Everything goes here, everything goes here, the usual stuff. This has been this is my third run on this space age, and this has been the best so far for this. I never had to do anything with this, really. It just keeps running on its own. And then I have the original brick, which is the big boy. This is actually shorter than the actual original one. The original one used to go all the way as far as it could, but all this space was, unnecessary. So I cut off a little bit. This I used to go across the Aquila, well, technically anywhere I needed, powered by the nuclear mostly. Has been working very well, no problems whatsoever. In the beginning, only issues I had were the water, mainly because I was producing the missiles and stuff. It spent so much that I needed to get all this as uncommon rarity, a production facilities. Then after that was fine, no problem whatsoever. I used to have turrets here just to prevent all this stuff that's happening over here, but for the sake of reaching the edge of the solar area, they just kept eating so much bullets for every passing by big meteor that I had to get rid of all of that. This save essentially is a pre-finishing the run. But yeah, other than that, this is I feel this is very effective. The bullets go around very nicely. I gather a lot, when I start flying, all my belts are super full, and I have dedicated I have dedicated water processing area, so it will pick up all the ice here. And if I start having too much ice, it will start reprocessing it, and I have reprocessing for all the materials. And even if that is not enough, then it will divert it to here to reprocess it even more. And this also you can use if you feel like you can turn it here as to coal. This is just to feed into the explosives and the missiles. So I found this very nice. I'm not very compact type of player. I like to overdo, as you can see from my huge brick, that it's I like to have more space to play around, so that I don't need to make a huge spaghetti everywhere. But I can make something nice and neat. not other stuff. But yeah, main thing is like set up everything. Like I have everything. If I have like too much excess that it becomes an issue, everything's counted and just pushed out from the platform to make everything run nice and smooth. That's all my like spacecraft. And for the game or the planet itself, I will start at novice. The settings. Well, to start with, the settings were like the maximum resources, everything, no cliffs. The forest I did have, but also you had to make sure you don't touch certain alien settings. You can put evolution to 0, you can do that kind of stuff. You cannot like stop them from expanding, and like yeah, it will show you, it will tell you which one you cannot stop. I actually did mess it up once. I did actually finish the game with those stuff turned off, so I had to redo, but it's fine. Unfortunately, I had to play more of this game. I was so sad to spend extra 36 hours. And then secondly, when you start the game, you might want to check out the maps a little bit, like because you have so many resources, it's kind of like a non-issue. But like for example, for the novice, I kind of was looking for to have like that I don't need to defend from every side, to have some oceans around me or some choke points, which I can hold fairly easily. Then other points of importance were to have tungsten, obviously, somewhere fairly accessible. The less you had to attack the worms, the more time you save. In the gleba, you want to have 2 big areas of the resources, so you don't need to go back and forth here and there, and especially like to defend. You don't need to defend many places. In Fulgora, the main thing you want to have is to have big scrap area, like a 6 mil or something, in the same island where you have the space to build, so that you don't need to have like make any trains or stuff like that. You can just like put the belts on. Like I started here, and then eventually I moved all my production and stuff here. And then in Aquilo, what is like makes it the best or the fastest run is like have lithium, these brine veins, whatever you call them, aquifers or whatever, and have at least 10. I have 12 for whatever reason. I did not pay attention, these are not working, didn't matter, didn't care. 10 is enough to run all these 10 like research plants, and after that like you can very easily get the microchip, the quantum processors and everything run. Like everything's running very well with just enough of these. In the previous run I had only I think 5, and then I had to go and get somewhere far away to get some more, and that was just like a very tedious thing to do. For fluorine you only need 1. That's all you need. You get 1, you're done. You have like a self-feeding system here, so like it's just like it's just great. It's good. You don't need to care about it. But to go for the actual strat, so like you play as you usually would. You make some bus and stuff. You can make like to begin with. You have to understand this is fairly loose achievement. Like the original one was pretty tight on what you do, because the time was it like 4 hours you had to shoot the rocket. It was like a pretty tight, but it was doable. But it had a lot less like time to like overdo stuff. But here I decided to go pretty like a simple bus, just like the iron, steel, copper. And also from these buses, like I just used for the mall, like you see the copper ends here. The iron goes a little bit more, mainly because I have more iron, it goes a little bit further. But like I recommend just like, because the resources area, just like expand, just like support the inputs where you have the resources, like you can see here. Like okay, I need more of circuits, I need more tech, like just build everything, all the stuff all again, like just push them in to the system from different directions, instead of trying to force like a one single direction which feeds everything. There's absolutely no point to do it. spaghetti is the way, spaghetti is the life. But because you can, like, bring the stuff in from the direction you want, you can actually reduce the amount of the spaghetti because you don't need to, like, get the bus go all the way from here to here to here, and then you get all the way up to here, and you're like, okay, it's not enough, and then you have to bring another line here, and you have to feed it backwards from it. Like, yeah, no point. Just make a new one. Make a new one. You have so much resources and never run out for the duration of this achievement run. Go for it, enjoy it. Just like, get rich, get lucky, get like, get fat, get greedy, all that good stuff. For kind of like this thing that I did, like it took like 12 hours. Mainly it took so long because I thought to go for the don't do certain tech until you get somewhere achievement at the same time. I kept keeping myself back for no reason at all because I opted not to do it anyway. So you can easily get something like done in 10 hours. Also, one thing that kept me back was the energy. Do go for the uranium as fast as possible. Just do it, do it. When you get to uranium, energy is a non-issue anyway. It's just great. I just spent way too. I lost like an hour or two just for like running out of the energy. I think I had to reload like a backtrack 1 hour or something a couple times because I just suddenly like my factory just died. But yeah, and also like you don't need that much because you're going quite like relatively fast. Like technically most of this area is just useless. All the blue circuits, whatever, this is all shit. This area is good. You want to have this because this, obviously feeds to your nuclear, but also later on to your Aquila. So you need to have this ready and stacked up before you go to Aquila. I didn't have, I also did this kind of late. But like, I lost like 1 hour for that. But I could afford it. It is what it is. For the defense in the early, it takes a long time before the aliens start attacking. But when they do, you after that you want to start putting like the laser turrets here and there. In the early you don't need many, but like you can see, like eventually they start coming in a big pack. So you want to have like an outpost like this here and there to make sure you don't lose anything, or just cover like this. You can see they're coming from here or there, here or there. You can see like how there's so many. They don't like evolve, but there's so many, so you want to make sure they don't get in to do the dirty deeds. But yeah, that's Aquilo. About 12 hours. Done. Mostly done. Of course you can supplement later on while you're waiting some other stuff. I like to do it so that I could kind of like make outpost packs when I leave Novice to kind of like kickstart the other planets faster, but it's like up to you. You can go rough and tough if you want. You can go like a true settler's way, but yeah. So for the second planet, I went to volcanoes, and this took me, was it 7 to 8 hours? About this, I like volcanoes. It's pretty fun. I used a lot of stuff I made on my previous game, like I had a big part of the base. I just like planned it here and started like handcrafting and using drones. I recommend making lots of drones. I recommend taking to every planet. Like it just make life so much easier. You have like for example, my tungsten ore is just like it's just outpost with like a drone pushing the stuff around. It's great. Here on the solar, obviously, you get a lot more out of it than any other energy. Or well, you could go nuclear, but there's no point because it's just so strong. As usual, you start small. You start making, the drills, the machines, the factories, the foundries, all that stuff. Then, at least here, I like to make the most. I like to a little bit overshoot the stuff because eventually, from here, I export the light metals to Novice so that I don't need to do so much work there. So I will shoot that a little bit and also all the other stuff too to like have good stock. I think I put some boxes somewhere. Maybe. Used to be at least. Anyway, so like to make sure you have the stock on the late game when you want to finish all the plates and stuff for the quantum chips and the guns and whatnot. And then after all this is done, did we have any problems here? Not necessarily. Remember, you can just use turrets and take the tank and take the tank's missiles. They are just like an OP, I guess the small ones. Get like a 20 turrets, the tank, kite a little bit, shoot, you're fine. The bombs die very quick. Then after that I went to Fulgora. Fulgora, again, a lot of drones. Here I started, put the drills, the starting setup, and then moved everything here. This is a copied setup for dealing with the scrap. It's very good because you can just add these like a kind of like a filter boxes everywhere. You can pick up the stuff as you like, and eventually you can just run the whole base out of these. You can just let these on and try to bring the scrap wherever you need. The actual what you need to finish the achievement is this more. Even this is like overshooting a little bit. Like it's excessive. But it's the amount I had in my previous game, so I just used the same amount. Feel free to make it smaller, bigger, whichever. Don't really mind. Just remember to make a lot of these accumulators. You take a lot of energy here to survive the dark times. Other than that, very quick, very simple. Nothing too special here. Just for me, I like to use the drones. The drones keep moving the stuff around as I need it. And so you can just slap these rockets around and shoot signs into space, and life is good. I think this part took me 6-7 hours, something like that. Then after that we went to Gleba. In the Gleba, it used to be hard for me until I understood I have to use productivity models. Please make sure that you get enough seeds, like you overproduce the seeds so you can expand the soils in your fruit areas, in your orchards, however you pronounce it. As usual, start small. This setup I found out from the internet. Yes, it used to be one making the eggies. So I set up this, hand feed everything, start this stuff up. Obviously go around, get the minerals, get all that stuff. And then you supplement them from here. You smelt stuff, you do minerals, all the good stuff. Then after you start having some of the biolabs, do the metals so you can keep running all this stuff. Then in the beginning you might want to bring nuclear reactors to like run some of this electricity here. Of course you can do like I did and have some of solar energy too, but it's fairly weak, doesn't last that long, takes a lot of space too. So after metals, I went for this kind of the metals, like many of these setups are like straight from the Google. I just it's just tedious to figure out everything like I did in my default run. I figured out stuff by myself, but for this getting stuff compact and modular, I just Google stuff okay, how does it work and stuff. The problem with having that kind of thing is that this is all excessive. This is very much excessive, it's too much, you can go through a lot less. And having this kind of a too big setup also slowed down actually to finishing my base. But it's a loose time schedule, so it's fine. So go for the rocket fuel, feed all this, and this runs my whole base. Doesn't need that much. Then you go for the tech. This is also from the Google. It runs like one rocket silo, one science, like a self feeds and produces everything. This takes kind of like a tuning here and there. Like you want to feed some extra nutrition somewhere. I think I put some extra fruit somewhere also. Can't remember anywhere where it was, but somewhere it is. And then, but when you get this running, then you can just add a couple of these with the boxes. Eventually when you start shooting the signs into space, like you shoot a couple rockets and then you have like 5 minutes when you need the new one, so you will over accumulate all the resources to make those. And then when that is done, then I made this also from our friend Google, just for making the science. It runs very well. Again, I added some like a supplementary boxes of like nutrients here and there to make sure it works well, and that's about it. Then after that is done, here I made with the boxes just like to produce the whatever carbon fiber, not silk as I thought. You can also already prepare the capture pod rockets, and then it's pretty much running by itself. Eventually you want to use the soil, make sure you get everything fair enough, get enough of everything, and just like worry about to have like you can easily have like you can see the spoilage will destroy your base, so make sure to have some outlet where you burn it or in other ways deal with it. Gleba took me 5-6 hours maybe. Can check the times later, but then it was time for Aquila. Aquila was the fastest. Only thing that happens to me and has happened on Aquila every time is like I have kind of like the parts of the build I've done before, and I kind of like a mix and match, like where can I fit them nicely. But I end up the first 1 or 2 times I kind of like a build it, and then I'm like, well, I'm not quite happy with something, or like I ran out of something, kind of like makes a mistake. So I just like a reload and then kind of like a copy paste the whole build, just slap it there as a blueprint, and then I start like a kind of like a building again. But of course it's a lot more faster because it's done. And there's nothing really specific about it. Use the drones again. Don't waste time thinking about how to make all the spaghetti here. Boxes are great. You start with water, make sure you always have enough water. Use the nuclear. You only need 2 nuclear to, like you can see, I have only 2 nuclear plants, which are heating up my whole base. Allows you to skip the nuclear fuel totally. I think I had some, was it research to it? Something took a little bit of the, like, the fuel, and then the solid fuel, and then the rocket fuel is just for the rockets. But like like I talked before, you only need 10 of the lithium brine pumps. You only need 1 of these fluorine. Then you just keep when you keep expanding, just make sure you have enough water, means have enough ice, means don't get full on ammonia, means make sure also these boxes don't get full, that these boxes don't get full, so it keeps producing ammonia. A little bit balancing, but like when you get like far enough with it, like it doesn't matter, the system will keep correcting itself most of the time. And yeah, then you can just expand forward like this, and then you don't need that much. I have 6 of these quantum chip places and 1 of these. It was able to deal with like the whole necessary amount of producing fairly quickly, no problems whatsoever. So can quickly go through, like I recommend doing when you play, to take lots of saves. So like you can see I start here and there, and just like just in case something goes wrong, so you don't need to take a 2 because then like you already forgot what did you do and how did you do it. So we go 12 hours to Volcano, then to the Fulgora is 9 hours. So 9 hours in Vulk. Then Gleba started in 3 hours, okay, Fulgora was pretty fast. And then from Gleba to Aquilo took 7 hours. But there is like just 1 hour the tech is started, and then from there it's 3 hours and I've researched everything. And then just half an hour to like equip the ship with the stuff and so on. So that's pretty much it. If there is something you feel you want me to expand on, sure you can ask. But it's fairly simple, like if you've done the default run, going with like a high resources stuff, it should be feel pretty fun. I partly didn't mind. I didn't feel the need to go with the default run simply because I just hated going over the alien bases over and over again until getting the artillery. But it still has the nice. It's still like, you know, it's kind of nice to have the clock to play against. It's kind of like it forces you to be flexible, to be compact, and be like a in a certain way minimalistic. But like I said, it's very loose. I'm in no way efficient player or builder. I just like, you know, do something feels nice, look nice, should work. If it doesn't work, okay, I can spare do it again once or twice. If it goes the third time, then I have to reload. But that's what the saves are for. But yeah, if you have something, ask. I'm happy to help. Into evening, day, whatever, wherever.